Hello once again, my friends, and my fellow lovers of the R.M.S. Titanic. This is going to be a really interesting video. So most of us grew up, we had the Revell, the Titanic model kit, just like what you see right here. And we've all done the propellers with 3 blades on port and starboard, and a turbine blade having 4 blades, the turbine propeller. So I want to introduce to you some evidence that might suggest that Titanic actually had a 3-bladed center propeller. So this is from the latest book, Recreating Titanic and Her Sisters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the propeller information with you. I will do another video on this wonderful book on its own, but for now, let's learn about the 3rd propeller, or the propeller with 3 blades on the R.M.S. Titanic. Okay, so let's go over some of the information now. Let's move her. Okay. Again, this is Recreating Titanic and Her Sisters, a visual history, with the foreword by Ken Marschall. And this is by Tad Fitch, J. Kent Layton, and Bill Wormstead. You see some lovely illustrations on the cover. And again, I'll be doing another video on going over everything in this book. But what I want to do in this video is I want to specifically focus on the propeller mystery. So on page 27, this will be titled, the page is titled, The Mystery of Titanic's Center Propeller. You can see a picture, well, an illustration, there are no pictures. This rendering shows Harlan and Wolff's worker standing beside Titanic with a 3-bladed center prop in place. Although no photographs exist of Titanic's center prop installed aboard the ship, all existing documentation proves that she was to receive one that had 3 blades. Look at that. The mystery of Titanic's center propeller. It has long been assumed that each of the Olympic-class ships, the center propellers, were made from single 4-bladed castings. This assumption was repeated in every Titanic book and shown on every Titanic model, physical or digital, including those shown in films and documentaries. Photographs of Olympic and Britannic's propellers showed its configuration and matched the documentation available on their design. Furthermore, photos of Olympic and Britannic's propellers are frequently miscaptioned as being Titanic's. Why would Titanic's have been different? No one ever really seems to have asked, do we know for certain that Titanic's propeller configuration was? Up till now, no. Photographs have surfaced of Titanic's propellers installed on the ship. All photographs claimed to be such are actually of her sisters. In 2007, maritime historian Mark Chirnside became aware of a notebook from Harlan and Wolff, which recorded the engineering particulars of each ship that they completed, including their propelling machinery and specifications. It is the only contemporary primary source that recorded Titanic's complete propeller specifications along those for Olympic. Astoundingly, it recorded that Titanic was fitted with a 3-bladed center propeller, rather than consistently assumed 4-bladed design. The document showed, you can see, yard number 400 was Olympic. The wing propellers 23 feet 6 inch in diameter, 33-foot pitch increased to 34 feet 6 inches in November of 1911, 160-foot 2-inch area, 3 blades. Center propeller 16 feet 6 inch in diameter, 14-foot 6-inch pitch, 120-foot area, 4 blades. Below that we see yard number 401, Titanic. Wing propellers 23 feet 6 inch diameter, 34-foot 6-inch pitch, crossed out and amended to 35 feet. 160-foot area, 3 blades. Center propeller, 17-foot diameter, 14-foot 6-inch pitch, 120-foot area, 3 blades. So this is pretty amazing. That would mean that everything we've known all our lives with the 4-bladed propeller for the turbine is actually incorrect. The only way to really tell is for them to do sonar through the mud to actually see the propellers, kind of like what they did for the damage that was made from the iceberg. The recorded modifications to Olympics propellers in late 1911 should not be surprising, since there was then a study going on to the best designs for large, high-speed liner props. Lusitania and Mauritania went through numerous different propeller designs in their early years, so frequently that they had to develop, they became difficult to keep track of. For example, buried deep in 1908, July 30th, Cunard memo reference was made to the fact that when Mauritania had fractured her stern bracket, one of the 2 spare 3-bladed propellers had been fitted to the starboard wing, after which the ship had successfully made 3 voyages running on just 3 props. Meanwhile, Lusitania had also been received new propellers. This sort of experimentation within months of both Cunard's entry into the service shows that such alterations were made frequently, and documentation on the matter can be hard to find. A good comparison might be the car tires. The vehicle and engine itself really never changes, but performance, road grip, comfort, ride, noise are all greatly affected by the quality of the design of the tires. Ships' propellers of the era were changed nearly as frequently. I did not know that. And in some cases, even more often than vehicle tires are today. Indeed, we should have been looking for such alterations earlier. Olympic sported 3-bladed center prop after her 1912-1913 refit. Although she later reverted to a 4-bladed prop, there can be no question that she bore Titanic's configuration for a time. Britannic was also given a 4-bladed center prop. There were further clues. Bruce Ismay had testified at the American Inquiry that Titanic was supposed to be slightly faster than Olympic. Finance, Commerce, and Shipping had also noted on April 11th of 1912 that there was no doubt that improvements had been made to Titanic's propellers over Olympic's original design. Incidentally, if you're wondering about the inquiry, I actually did a video on all its contents. If you want to check that out, I did a whole playlist for all my Titanic videos. In January of 2020, another primary source document came to light. First referenced by João Gonzalez Goncalves, hope I'm pronouncing it right. It was a notebook written by Stephen Pigott, or Pigot, who worked for several months in the turbine department, and John Brown and Company, who constructed the center turbines for Olympic and Titanic. His notebook offered 2 proposed propeller designs for Olympic and Titanic's center shafts. The ones connected to the turbines he was helping to create. One design was for a 4-bladed center propeller, was the same diameter and surface area of the Olympic as she was given it in 1911, only its pitch varied slightly from the final design. The second proposed design was for a 3-bladed propeller of the same diameter, surface area, and number of blades, namely 3. And the recorded in Holland & Wolff's own notebook for Titanic, again, the only variation came in the pitch of the blades, something that we know that Harland & Wolff was experimenting with at the time. So instead of finding primary source evidence to the contrary, more documentation is coming to light proving that assumptions about Titanic's center propeller having 4 blades were incorrect. The discovery that Titanic had 3-bladed center prop touched off a firestorm of controversy. Of course, this would mean that all our lives we've been led to believe something that was incorrect. Emotional and often very nasty arguments based on now disproven assumptions were leveled at Chernside's unusable research, Since Titanic's center propeller is buried deep in the seabed, it cannot be examined. No doubt some more of the emotional on the matter, no doubt some of the more emotional on the matter will not believe it until the actual prop is recovered from the wreck and placed at their front doorstep. However, actual primary documentation on the subject cannot be clearer. Titanic sported a 3-bladed center propeller. And that is the information on this book that actually covers this. It would seem to me that that subject would actually be a book unto itself, because think of the ramifications of that. If they have the propellers, all right, let me put the book down for a moment. Just picture this, if you will. If Titanic was meant to be faster, who knows if the propeller was the only difference? Who knows if she didn't have modifications to the engines that Britannic or Olympic did not? It just opens up a whole other book of questions. But that's the book that suggests that Titanic's turbine propeller in the center had 3 propellers and not 4 that we've all come to accept throughout our lives. So my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video, touching off the subject, the emotional and controversial subject of the center propeller. And like I said, I will be doing a video on this book for its own. That'll be coming out soon. So my friends, I thank you so much for watching. Until my next video, I'll talk to you soon.